of the freedom of speech,
The other side of the non-disclosure agreements, the agreements.
Guys that are getting away with stuff, I'm sure there are.
Let's go back. I'm sure you are familiar with this time. The time around the Cointelpro papers came out.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts about, that side of it being dirty, cops, dirty agents, in your opinion? How do you feel about that and people, having that?
We don't have FBI agents, cops, all of us. We don't have any particular protection against people that get corrupted in one way or another. Okay. You might get corrupted because you're out of money and you've got gambling debts, or you're using drugs or something like that, and you happen to be an FBI agent and you happen to be deciding to do something stupid in order to get money. And there's been FBI agents that we put in jail for that purpose. I don't know if you're familiar with the case of Aldrich Ames, but there was another guy from the New York FBI named Emmanuel Pitts. He decided he needed more money, and he started selling secrets to the Russians in the same way that Aldrich Ames did. You don't have to go back all the way to Cointelpro. Cointelpro was a fairly despicable thing when you step back and look at it. But the reality was, when we start investigating theoretical criminality, which is what it comes down to. In other words, is there a crime going on here? Is there somebody that is a security procedure? And then we find out that maybe it's not, but we've already sort of gotten into it deep enough to where we've overheard telephone calls and all that kind of stuff. What are we going to do about it? Just tear up all that stuff and throw it in the trash? Or say, well, we got to hold on to it until we're sure that nothing's ever going to come out of this. What came out of it was Cointelpro got exposed as something that we shouldn't do anymore, and we stopped doing it. So from the FBI standpoint, that's how the FBI learns lessons, hard lessons. But you can't learn a lesson from a guy who needs money and breaks his faith with all the other FBI agents and starts telling the Russians what's going on in the height of the Cold War. That's and we can't do anything about a cop who goes rogue and decides to kill somebody, because they don't like the color of their skin or they don't like the way they look. We can't do anything about that. Those are flaws in human nature that we can't fix right now. But we can get mad at it. Am I mad, for example, of that knucklehead cop that decided that he needed to put his knee on the back of George Floyd? You're damn right I'm mad at it. Not because for any other reason. Then if he tries to explain that as official law enforcement activity, I know better. I've locked up 150 people in my career. You don't lock people up like that. You don't punish people by putting them on the ground and putting your knee in their back. That's stupidity. You throw them in the back of the car and you drive them to wherever they need to go, period. That's the end of it. But so somebody like him, is he corrupt? Is he a piece of garbage? Yes. Is he does he put us in a bad light, meaning the rest of law enforcement? Yes. But I mean, it also comes down to the fact that sometimes we feel like the whole world is trying to, make us look bad. I mean, we just finished 4 years of a president that used to trash the FBI on a regular basis over stupidity that he thought was right. I mean, I don't buy that. And I know that some of the people that he's talking about could never have done some of the things that he thinks they did. But he can lie and get away with it. The problem for an FBI agent who's pretty low on the totem pole when you compare him with the president is that, you shut up and do your job. That's kind of the way I was. I mean, I never got beyond being a street agent. But as far as I'm concerned right now, I did what I could do to help the community I was working with. That was my responsibility, and that's what I did. And the guys that I worked with were also incredible. The three people I told you about who were murdered. Mm-hmm. One guy just sitting in his car and got murdered by a jerk who decided he needed to kill police. Mm. would I like to take that guy and, take him out back and put 3 or 4 bullets in his head? Of course. But that's not my responsibility. I'm not about revenge. I can't be about that. I teach criminal justice at George Mason now, and I was just talking to my students about that last night. We cannot be about trying to get revenge on people. We can't be about, seeking our own level of justice. We have to do what we are supposed to do. And we have rules and regulations. We have the Constitution and all those things that we have to follow. And if we don't want to follow them, get out of the business.
Right. I want to talk about.
It's not like you're going to get paid a lot of money by doing what I did.
Right. Right.
Self-snitching. I want to talk about that. And in particular, is dealing with hip hop. When you see a lot of these guys, I don't know if you watch how much you watch it, but you see them putting guns on the screen, throwing up gang signs. The technology now has pretty much made the FBI's job easier now to see that. So how prevalent do you think it is, or what puts a rapper on the FBI's radar, in your opinion?
I don't think there's any particular thing that puts usually there has to be somebody that comes along and gives a full accounting of what somebody's up to before, especially if you're going to go after somebody that's got big money, big resources, and got an audience of people. You can't just sort of say, okay, well, I see this guy on social media and he talks about, selling drugs and shooting guns and being some kind of badass. And then you go and you do a background on him and you find out he's from Connecticut and, grew up going to prep schools or something. I don't know, but I'm guessing that but before I took action on somebody like that, I'd have to, talk to somebody that said, yeah, he's into guns and drugs. That's what he does. I helped testified in a case years ago in Detroit, in the Flint area, on some group that decided that they needed to post pictures of their guns and their drugs and and their girlfriends on, I guess it was MySpace, right? Wasn't that a early Facebook thing?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like they gave us a built-in PowerPoint presentation to prosecute him. But hey, to me, more power to them. Thank God. It just makes our job easy. That's going to happen. And what I think, there are so many people involved in hip hop right now. Let's take, for example, that young man that had the concert in Houston. How does he fit into y'all's understanding of, is he hip hop, for example? I don't know.
Yeah, we spoke about Travis Scott. You talking about the afterworld?
Is it for him? Is it all about money, or does that really affect him? And if it really affects him, he seemed to not act like it did. And to me, that's critical. He may be nothing but a musician and thinks, I don't have any control of this. And that's him. I happened to be lucky enough years ago to meet Busta Rhymes. And I thought, well, that guy is an extremely capable and competent musician. I couldn't believe it because I really didn't know one way or the other. And I just thought, well, I'm sure if he knew that I was an FBI agent, he probably wouldn't be, all that excited about knowing that. But the point is that if somebody is a talent like that, you just go, okay, do whatever you like. I want to see them successful because that's talent that I believe in. I have a guy that I went to high school with. I don't know if you guys ever heard of him. I don't think he sings hip hop, but he's pretty well known. What the heck? Jimmy Buffett. I don't know if you guys.
Yeah, definitely.
He and I were in high school together in Alabama, and I've seen him 3 or 4 times since then. At his concerts and that kind of thing. And he went through a whole series of changes. He had a drug problem for a while, and then then all of a sudden he was like the biggest thing on concerts. And so to me, that's just talent. That's just good musicianship and talent and being in the right place at the right time or whatever. And so I don't ever want to see that go away, no matter how it is, no matter how it sort of exhibits itself or develops. But I think as long as hip hop continues to be what seems to be the protest music of this generation, then, I think it's important. But I don't see it as that's who we should target. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, when law enforcement decides to go after somebody, they should be doing it based on some real knowledge that they have that says this person is not just making tons of money because he's a good singer or a good artist, but he's making tons of money because he's selling drugs in the back room. That's, that puts him over in a different category. Right. So if there are hip hop artists that find they have to do that, then they're taking a chance. They're taking
God, you the man, Cass. I spit white like a clan mask, and I'm a hustler. I could stand out on the beach and sell sandbags. Some things can't last, but this ain't just a podcast. This is Sam Ant and Old Godcast. Hip hop uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Hip hop uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Oh God, driving Sam Ant riding passenger side, and you heard it out the mouth of the greatest rapper alive. Hip hop uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Hip hop uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Oh God, driving Sam Ant riding passenger side, and you heard it out the mouth of the greatest rapper alive. Go gang.